Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to be going over one of the more obvious characters in the game that doesn't exactly have a lot of giant, like super big tricks and stuff like that. Like we're not talking about like a Black Panther. We're not talking about like somebody like a Spider-Man, Psylocke, Iron Fist, Wolverine. This is more one of the more simplistic picks that we're going to be doing in the series as we go over all of the characters, and it's definitely the I think his kit is like the simplest of the people that we've gone over, but I still see people lock this character in, and I've had people actually come into my comments section lately and be like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing on StarLord, and I really wish for some guidance and to just be pointed in the right direction because I'm hard stuck." And I'm here to help. This character actually, there's a big misconception. I see a lot of people really misusing his abilities, and I think this character is actually really good. Nobody talks about him, which is kind of interesting. They just kind of are reminded whenever he's in their game, whenever he ults, and that's kind of all because a lot of people are just kind of playing him incorrectly a lot of the time. So we're going to go over some stuff really quick. So first of all, his left click is going to shoot enemies with his dual elemental guns. And now these do some serviceable damage. It's not anything like absolutely insane. They've got a pretty decent clip of 40 rounds.
They
And
do not look happy.
when landing all of your shots onto a 250 HP squishy, it will actually kill in the body at just 40 rounds. And if you actually end up using it on their head, it will kill in about a little more than half, which is pretty decent. It's not terrible damage or anything, but it's average. The TTK on it is really good, provided you hit your shots, but obviously from range, you're probably not going to hit all of your shots. It can become a bit more hard. We're gonna do from over here. Let's see if there's any fall off. Yeah, so it seems like there's quite a bit of a problem landing some of these shots as you're a bit further away. But that's fine, because StarLord is really good at multiple things, and we're going to go into some of his other abilities right now. We're going to go ahead and talk about his left shift first, which is going to be that he can consume energy to propel himself forward. God, you talk a lot, man. Okay, anyway. So his left shift, he pretty much gets jetpack boots. Pretty good. He's got a pretty nasty bar on it. It's pretty good. There's not a whole lot of downside. It charges at a okay rate. There's not really any way to make that charge up faster, but I mean, you can use it before this full. Typically, the initial boost of the boots actually has the largest amount of energy taken. So that's pretty much all that we're going to talk about until we get into like his gameplay aspects of what we want to be doing. Next, we are going to talk about his E, which is the Blaster Barrage, which fires a frenzy of shots, causing damage to enemies within range. This is probably the ability, other than his ultimate, I see used the worst of people. The people actually just run into an entire crowd, and they will do this, and then they will die. And then they will die, and they will flame their support, saying, "Oh, I didn't get enough healing. What's up with all this lack of healing that I'm getting right now?" Not really understanding that they're using it wrong. Hold on. Actually, while I'm at it, I'm just gonna turn down my master volume because this is aggravating me a little bit. StarLord, he's a little chatty, a little too chatty. Anyway, Blaster Barrage is probably the I see the people actually genuinely run into a doorway like this with their shift on, pop all of that, and then use both of their dashes to try and get away, and then they'll get stunned, or they'll die, or they'll get mantis slept, or Hulk will exile them or something. Because you're not that fast when you're in this. Like, you have okay speed, but you just fire in the general area. Typically, StarLord players are going to be linear whenever they use it. They want to get as much damage as they can, so they're going to run at you, right? It's an okay ability. It's fine. It's not anything to like write home about. It has its uses that we'll get into here in a minute. But for now, we'll go ahead and talk about the right click, which is his stellar shift, dodge in a direction of movement, and swiftly reload. Now, the funny thing about this ability actually is you actually get armor when doing it. And you can dodge certain things. So you can actually dodge Namor Whale. You can dodge the Scarlet Witch Explode. You can dodge the Wolverine startup of his attack. Yeah, there are a lot of things that it just like completely just outright ignores. It negates it just entirely. Like, you can't be hurt. and it's great. That's really, really good. The issue is that people aren't using it that way. And it's a little bit hard. It's actually a pretty tricky timing, but more so rather than that, the biggest, more obvious thing is that let's go ahead and dump our clip out to 0. Flipping
Thought you had me.
will reset your ammo count back to 40. And that's pretty good. I mean, it allows you to do some pretty cool things like this. You know, you can move around while you're in a team fight. If you're like burning ammo, you don't have time to reload maybe, and you need that extra movement. Well, good for you. This is actually going to accomplish both. Best of both worlds. It's good defense. It provides you with the ability to start dumping more damage, which on StarLord is your #1 objective, is just dumping damage, getting your ultimate as fast as possible, trying to swing a fight. His 1v1 potential isn't like better than a lot of characters or anything like that. If you can hit your shots, he can be really, really gross, but we're not talking like if you get jumped by a Black Panther, your options are him missing and you killing him because he sucks and he's silver, or you dash away with your boots, and then that's about it. Like a lot of times Black Panther players that are actually decent at their character will probably kill you if you try to one-on-one them from close. You're really, really, really good at sitting at this like medium range, or better yet, even a medium range kind of adjacent from your team, kind of like this, because the fall off isn't that bad. You actually get a lot of value from playing like this, so pretty good, and pretty solid. So we talked about the right click. So now let's go ahead and talk about the ultimate, and this is the second ability other than the E that I see people actually just completely mess up. So to kind of go over it a little bit. Galactic Legend, engage in a free flight and lock onto enemies in sight. Pretty good. It's Soldier 76 ult, which is, but you have flying, which is pretty solid. I mean, a lot of the time as StarLord, you're actually going to be playing like Soldier 76. This is the character that does that pretty well. I know he has the dual pistols like Tracer. You're not going to play him like that ever. Just never. It's actually a pretty good ult. You actually get a lot of value out of using your right clicks in combination with it. So if we go ahead and pop the ultimate and we drain our bar, we can right click, get it back. We can right click, get it back. And then you reload faster as well, which is really nice. But yeah, it's pretty good. You can dump damage. This is mostly going to help you kill squishies. Now, the issue that I see, where we can go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So, I'll see people go ahead and pop their ult, and then not really paying attention to the biggest thing in the game. This goes for many DPS characters, but StarLord has it, like, the worst of the lot. When a Mantis, or a Luna Snow, or even sometimes a Cloak and Dagger have ult, and then as StarLord you pop ult, and they hear you, they are just going to press their Q button, and you are not going to get any value out of it as so long as they are glued to their support. It's really, really hard to kill people through ult, and a lot of the time as StarLord, if they are in ult, and the only reason you killed them, it was because your teammates are also damaging one person, and then that person is dying really quick. Like, his ult is good, don't get me wrong, provided that you are actually playing around game sense and your knowledge of how things are supposed to be flowing in the map. I see a lot of people like log onto this character, and what they'll do is they'll pop ult and they'll expect to get 4, and then they will completely just only dump damage and nothing else, and it won't matter anymore because now you're StarLord, you're in the air. There's a pretty good chance that if you mess up your ult, you're also not very good at repositioning yourself. And that brings me into the talk. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of his playstyle things that we kind of want to see from this character. A lot of the time I'll see this character posted behind the tank, just kind of spraying like this. This is not really... You're kind of a fish, I'm not going to lie. You don't really provide that much if your backline gets dove from this range, again, if it's like a Black Panther. Unless you're really good at tracing, you're probably not going to be doing a whole lot here. If they get dove and it's like you and a support, and they dive the support first, especially if it's a character like Magic. If Magic dives past, when I see a StarLord and I'm playing Magic, I just completely am, I don't care. Like, honestly, if I see them playing in backline like this, to me, he's a non-factor. He doesn't do enough damage for me to really warrant a lot of concern, because he's probably not going to hit all of his shots if I'm really quick with what I'm doing. And that's true. It's really, really hard for StarLord at close range to get a lot of value, because 40 bullets sounds like a lot, when you're fighting like this and you're really trying to hit your shots and then they're just moving all over the place, like, it can be difficult at times, especially because this character is one of those characters that you ideally really want to be landing headshots with as much as possible, because your body damage, while it isn't bad, you know, you're going to run out of ammo, and sometimes you're not going to have cooldowns because, let's be realistic here, if you're firing a lot, you're not going to be using your right click to get away a lot of the time. You're going to be using it to reload, so we can't even call that an escape ability, not like all of the time. It's about half the time that it's actually going to be there for you to use in a way that allows you to leave. And that's fine, you know, because we have the shift, and as we said, this shift is pretty good. You can get away from a lot. You're a little bit slower than like your average escape move, but you know what? Wolverine can't get you up there. You know, you're fine. That's fine. Magic's gonna have a hard time chasing you up there. She might have her right click, but if she doesn't, then what is she gonna do about it? And she might miss it, you know? There's a lot that you can do with it. Now, we can talk about, though, we talked about how, like, we don't want to be sitting behind our tank the entire time. So what do we want to do? Kind of similar to what we talked about in the StarLord. Your job on StarLord is actually to just be dumping damage from a place adjacent to your tank, so you can draw attention, and if whenever they have attention at you, your tank moves forward, or maybe what we can do instead of that is our tank has all of the attention, we can actually move to the side and get a pick. Back up, they draw attention over here. They're like, oh, he's not there anymore. They look back. Guess what we can do? We can go over here. And now, the question might be, okay, well, what if I'm playing on this side and then I get dove by, like, Black Panther or something? Well, I mean, a lot of the time, unless you were, like, actually just getting one hit comboed, like, immediately. Like, I'm talking, like, he runs up, he throws a spear, and you're just in danger. He lands everything and you die. Yeah, you're in trouble if he's really, really fast. But, or like a magic player. But what is really, really nice is that you see that you're getting dove. That is when we can actually just shift behind the tank and we can dump damage from here. We wait until our boots are back. We wait for the dive to leave. We can go back up to a place similar or the exact same spot and just continue the same thing. This is really, really helpful. It's similar to what you wanted to do in Overwatch, where you just want to draw attention and so you can build up as much charge as you can, shoot their squishies, pressure the tank a little bit from afar, and then all of a sudden things change up a little bit, and you get a chance to kind of ult after you hear some support stuff, or maybe you know for a fact, hey, I have my ult way quicker than some of these other people, because if we go ahead and get rid of it, man, 8 seconds is a lot on this hole, by the way. That's a bit insane. But it's pretty good. So if we can go up here, and we can just see, you're getting, per clip, 9%. And then if you go and just use a flip, we're already at 37. And we're just dumping these. And even if we don't kill anybody, this is a team fight. Like, we can just do this in neutral all day, and it doesn't matter. We're getting value out of just collecting ult. So long as we're not only shooting the tank, though, because we don't want the supports to just build up their ult either, because, again, kind of counterproductive to what we want to be doing. We want to be dumping damage, but we want to do it with purpose. If the tank is the only thing on your screen, go ahead and shoot it. But if there are other people, let's try to pressure something that's not just the tank unless he's stepping out of line. We want to keep him in check, but we're not going to try to force the check, if that makes sense. He's more inclined to be in a bad spot if we actually pressure the supports, because they will leave him behind because they're probably not queued with him. Because they're probably filled. So let's be honest here. Everyone's a DPS player. But it's pretty good. StarLord's got a lot of capability with that kind of thing, and I love to see it. Now let's talk about his E a little bit here. So, like I said, a lot of the time whenever I see people use Z, they'll press it, and they will just run in a straight line. Not exactly what you want to do. When you're in your E, you're not locked in the animation or anything. You have the ability to leave it. But we kind of want to use our abilities to their fullest potential. And the E is actually really, really good. But more so than that, the E is your closer. This is what a closer is, an ability that is actually going to just completely, it's going to get rid of all of the skill that you need from the end of an engagement to just give you the kill. And how is the E a closer? Well, we press E, and now we're running forward, and then we flip out. Because when they're low HP, and they die, there's there's nothing there to kill us. Now, obviously, if there are 3 people behind, we're not going to be pressing that. But In 1v1s, isolated situations like this, say you are playing against a dive and they really step out of line, and you know you don't have a flip or anything like that, but you do have your E. If you just move around the room against a dive, you have a pretty solid chance of killing them. Actually, it helps get rid of a lot of that pressure that you might be given from a dive character, because when used in tandem, say you are actually really good at hitting your shots close range, and you're really good at kind of being in a brawl state with a character like that. It gives you the option. You're not completely dead in the water at close range. You have something that is unique to you that allows you to do that, and you can pair it really well with your E, or your shift. So you can just float around, say it's a magic, and she misses her dash and she goes upward. Well, you trace her down, and then you enter with E, and then you close the fight, and then you're flipping backward. You can also, while doing it, so say we dump the entire clip, and we go ahead and press the button, and we flip out of it. It's really nice to pressure. So say we're playing close range, we'll wait on our E really quick. Say we're close range, we hit a lot, but we don't hit enough. We go ahead and press that, we jump out, and then we finish it off with the rest of the burst while we're just waiting for cooldowns, or maybe we're just trying to get a little bit more damage so we can be a little bit safer. It helps a lot. E is going to be your best friend against these low targets, especially when used with the flip, because it gives you an option to leave. Your back away and spacing, if you are in a brawl state, are going to be your best friend here, because you are actually giving yourself a lot of ample opportunity to kind of just leave something for them on the way out, so that way you're not just leaving, dipping out, dashing away. Pretty nice and pretty solid. We'll go ahead and go into the practice range where we can go ahead and show something. I showed this in the last video where we did some stuff on Psylocke, but a lot of people, I think, are not really understanding as much as I kind of want them to kind of see. So we'll go ahead and put it on Doctor Strange, and we'll go ahead and change this to horizontal movement. So if we go ahead and do this, the really nice thing about StarLord, he gets a lot of value out of being on the side of an enemy rather than in front. And why is this? When people are moving from side to side like this rather than front to back, no matter how they're moving, side to side is always going to be easier for you to shoot if you're on their side. It's just the way that it goes. Because when in front of you, we actually have to try and follow our target. And while some people might not have this issue, StarLord does have this issue, because you really want to land as many of your shots and make them purposeful. It also works pretty well if you're up here. So they'll still have to trace, but now you're at least in a little bit of a height advantage, and you're being given the ability to kind of land headshots a little bit easier. You can see more of their body if they do move forward or backward. You know, it's helpful. But ideally, from situations like this, it's a squishy or the tank is low and just not paying attention. All day. You eat that all day. It doesn't matter. If you can see what I mean. And like I said, when he lands all of his shots, this character does damage. He dumps. Just straight up. Full stop. Dumps damage. All the time. And he can be really good at that. The issue more so comes into, where are you standing? I see a lot of people do this wrong, and that will get them killed. StarLord should be dumping massive DPS. If his stat is not high at the end of the game, he's just not playing correct. Always. This character just, in round 1, like 8k minimum, probably. And that's like moderate. Like, this character just eats. His bullets eat through health. They do really well. Doesn't matter. Like, you should just be doing a lot of damage, regardless if you're standing in the correct spot, using your ultimate and your cooldowns correctly. It's really wonderful. I also was asked to show my crosshair settings in my game, so we'll go ahead and take a look really quick at these. So here's my crosshair, and mine is actually really simple. Actually, I did pretty much nothing. I just made the width 2. The reticle opacity is at 98. You can do 100. Doesn't really matter. The outline width is 33. The opacity is 100. And then I actually made the crosshair length at 16 because I don't like it really big in my screen. And I made it blue because it's my favorite color. I would have made it white, but there are a lot of characters like Magic and Magic's one skin, Moon Knight. Well, honestly, we can just go through this right now, actually. Psylocke can have some problems with like too much white on the screen. Moon Knight, Storm's hair can get in the way. Thor, in general, like his hair is pretty long. not Grimace Magneto, but you know, the gray Magneto skin. It can actually be kind of hard to see some of the white colors because, man, oh man, are there like a lot of characters that have a skin that is like an all white or something like that in this game. Like there's a Wanda skin, I do believe. There's the Black Widow skin that's all white. I can't see my crosshair like at all on her body if it's white. Magic can't at all. Yeah, but you get what I mean. I'll stop yapping now. But remember, if you guys enjoyed it, I will have a gameplay video going up really, really soon on StarLord as well to kind of follow up, and it'll have a link to this video, and this video, I will have a link to that one in the comments below whenever it goes live. I love you guys so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Again, remember, I am going on vacation at the end of the week on the 27th, so a lot of the videos that are going to be going up during that week are going to be pre-recorded, but I will get to everybody whenever I can. We have some Black Panther stuff coming up later this week. I'm trying to work on Spider-Man. The idea isn't the problem. It's just I don't know anything about his combos or anything like that. I've only played like a handful of games on him. But anyway, I will have a guide for all of the characters in the game as I get to them. And I appreciate it, and I love you guys a lot. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers, and now 1,300 subscribers. You guys are absolutely destroying it, and I love you. So stick around if you can, or if you want to. Anyway, if you're watching in the afternoon, make sure you eat your lunch. Super important. I'll talk to you later. Bye.